Hello everyone and welcome to Northeast Rails. New intro coming soon. Okay, so here we are back at the table, onto the DCC part of this. And I think we have all the wires that we need for this. This will end up being the positive, which also goes conveniently to the orange for motor. This will be negative, going also, there's a gray for the other side of the motor. And that's enough to get it started. Then we'll worry about the LEDs after that. For this, since it only needs two functions, I'm going to put a front and a rear LED in. I'm going to use a Digitrax 127D. Hopefully that'll focus correctly. 127D. It's basically two auxiliary functions, which will be the front and rear light. And since we don't need the purple or green wires for this, they are unused, I am just going to cut them. So no purpose in having them on the decoder. So off you go. Green, yes. Make sure I get the right one, and purple. Okay, off you two go, to be used for other wiring at some point in the future. This I am planning on putting right here. It should fit almost perfectly, and can run some wires under the LED to connect stuff up in here. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. So let's get some should I get some tape first and do that? Or should I wait until later to tape that? Well, first of all, let's get this stuff off. Wonder when that'll break off in the middle of attempting all this stuff. Sure, it's coming. You know what? Before I get the LEDs on, I'm going to try minimal viable product type of thing. Look at that. That's already broken. Course, you're dealing with wires this small. It doesn't take much for it to fray. And I used to often do it by hand too. I would use a kind of the old school electrician's way, just use a knife, go around the wire to break the shielding, and then pull it off. Ended up just getting a cheap wire stripper. Works fine. A lot better. It's much more accurate. Okay, so let's see. Where will that end up? That will end up somewhere around here. So we want... This is positives. This is red. We want that to end up somewhere around here. And I am notoriously bad for cutting things way too long, because I don't know, I'm just never good at it yet, I guess. Eventually that'll come in time. Black will go to there. Just the other side of track power. It goes to there. I'd like to bend it back though. So I'm going to put it to around the same length as the red. And then we're going to have orange. Same-ish deal. We'll end up putting it down in there somewhere. Eighth of an inch, a little bit longer, just in case, as I have, well, I have really bad luck. Let's put it that way. And the gray, take you up the side of this. I think that, where is that gonna need to go? Dang it. See, there's a thingy that comes down on the inside here that rubs the edge of this. I don't want to be hitting that. Now I can't remember when I took this shell off if it went that side or that side. I wonder if I should assume that it goes up on this side for now. And if I have to reroute it later, I will. Let's try that. Get away from there. Okay, I'll strip all these down and we'll move on. Alright, so this stuff is all cut. I have heat shrink tubing on there. I'm not going to heat it to shrink it yet. Always test first because the wires are cut so short that if something doesn't work, you're out of luck. So let's get one thing at a time. All the light wires back here. You get back there. You know what? I'm just going to tape that back. It's in the way. Alright, so we got red, and then we got orange. Uh-oh. What are we doing here? There. Let's do it at the same time. Right, orange. Please don't break. If that breaks off, I'll have to take this apart and solder a new one down the bottom. Not the end of the world, but I'd really rather not do that if I don't have to. Alright, here you go. And gray. I know there'll be people that'll criticize me for not soldering this, but again, it's test running first. If you solder it and something isn't working, then you're a little bit more trouble. The other thing too is I often don't honestly solder everything because once it's heat shrink, if it's twisted right, that's never going to come off. If something's vibrating so much as to knock that off, you have a much bigger problem than worrying about a solder connection. Alright, that's minimum viable product. That's enough to actually get it tested to see if DCC works. It didn't take too long. If that does look good, we'll come back, we'll shrink that stuff all up, and work on the lights. I'm actually just going to tape off the lights just to make sure nothing touches while it's out on the test track, and we'll let's go out on the track and get her done. Okay, so here we are. Let's turn her on, and we'll go to Loco 3. We're on 3, default. If she moves forward, what happens? Well, that's backwards, but okay. Yeah, then that's forwards. Oh, great, and she's grinding again. Sounds like a power torque. But it is working. It's a grease issue. We'll have to deal with that at some other point. Anyway, everything else, though, does work. So that's good. So on to the next step. Get the lights going, and we'll address the squeaky wheel needs less grease issue. All right, so here we are back here. Since there's nothing plastic on this around that area, I'm just going to blast it with the heat gun to get that heat shrink tubing shrunk, and move this out of the way. This out of the way, so I'll make sure there's nothing plastic behind here that'll end up being an issue later. A couple other pieces of heat shrink in the background, them out of the way. Those wires will make their way over to where they're supposed to be eventually. All right. Okie dokie. All right. Now on to lighting. How am I going to do this? I have a couple ideas here. So I did check where these come out. Let's push this down here a bit. Oh, I guess I wish I could get that down there permanently. The top of this comes down on the edges here. So they're on the inside. Turn this upside down so everybody can see it. Make sure I don't damage that bell any more than I already have. Might not be able to see it very well in here, but there's the plastic, a pointy thingy, screwdriver. This plastic for the lights up in here and the one down here stop at this point. There's like a little groove in here, a groove here. Sorry, this one actually goes back, the groove there. So if I put the LED in the back here, pointed that away, and make it black so it doesn't shine through the fan, and the same thing up here, put the LED here, paint the top of it black so it doesn't shine up through that fan, then I think all should be well. And it looks like there's plenty of room to run the wires for all this stuff down underneath that. We'll see, I guess, but let me go grab a couple of LEDs that I like to use, and let's see how that looks. So I decided to go with these 2mm tower LEDs, and I may or may not cut the tower piece off. Depends. Let's do some testing with it, I guess, first. But as luck would have it, that's exactly the width of the little gap here between the metal. So I should really just need to push this down a bit and then aim it where I want it to go. And after I paint it, of course. And all should be well. So let's, off camera, I'm just going to quickly connect that and get this actually put in where it's supposed to be. And then I'll pull out the test track and just see if the lights work. Okay, and here we are. And after realizing, after I connected the lights, that since this is basically a road switcher, what I perceive as the front is actually opposite. So this is actually the front and this is the back. So I switched the lighting around so it matched what we saw on the other layout. So I have it on my Bachmann Easy controller, Easy command controller, because it's easy. Let's put it that way. It's going to shut some lights down here so it's easier to see this. But it does. That's front, back. So they are working. So that is backwards, which will be this way. So that should be correct now. So time to heat up the heat shrink again with the gun, the Ryobi gun, the same as you saw before, and I'll pop these down into it, and we'll see if we can get the cover back on it. All right, well, here we go. We're on 3, and it's in reverse direction, which means it'll go that way. So I'm going to turn it down to forward direction. We can see this with the lights. I'm going to have to pop this off the tripod for a moment. The top light is on. Unfortunately, it is also lighting the fan. At this point, I don't care. All right, so let's back up the back up and see it back up, and the light does work correctly as well. All right. So that being said, maybe I will, I don't know, top that off a little bit of black just to make it a little prettier. But on the tripod we are, and let's move forward, which should be that away. Oh. Right. It is definitely working. Yeah, it might be worth popping that case off. It did take me quite a bit of work to get that case back on. I'll explain why as soon as this comes around the corner here. I'll just let it go one round, and then I'll put it in reverse and move it backwards, and you can see what's going on. The title of this is definitely going to be a test in patience. Right, let's hit the backup button. Oh. All right, need to tweak some CVs there. She's instant. There's no acceleration or deceleration momentum on this at all. But that's all programmable. That's a problem for another time. So here's what gave me all the grief of getting this back together. Pop this off the tripod again. Hopefully we can see this. The vents here on the sides stick in a little bit, and they are touching that thin little line that's on the inside. And trying to get that back on there was, well, it took quite a bit of work. But it's on, it's running, it's quiet, and it just needs to have some CVs changed for the momentum. But if you're still watching at this point, thanks for sticking around to the end. This was a good one. But more conversions to come in the future. And once again, thanks for watching.